all the effing time. Turkey built its dominance on geography. India just used that geography against it. And the dildo of consequences, as someone wisely put it, rarely comes lubricated. No reaction window, no last minute intercept, no dramatic save. The knowledge that you're about to die and the actual death happens simultaneously. Hi, I am the Uncensored Nair, and this is where geopolitics gets real sharp and occasionally a little savage. No lectures, no diplomatics, just the story the way it is. Let's go. Imagine you're a strong man who loves throwing your weight around. You always get your way and nobody pushes back. Life is good. And then one day, out of nowhere, someone hands your neighbor a magical gun. And this gun, it floats, it hovers, and it points right at your head. While you're sleeping, you're shopping, even while you're in the washroom. All the effing time. No respite, no escape. Just this floating gun. Always there, always pointing. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the situation Turkey finds itself in. And the best part, they did it to themselves. No wonder they're having an epic meltdown. So let's unpack what exactly happened. So last week, the president of Cyprus flew into Delhi. His name is Nikos. Let's just go with Nikos, So we did the full gig for them. Rolled out the red carpet, state visit, full honors, official engagements, selfies with the PM, and at the end of it all, a full strategic partnership called the Bilateral Defense Cooperation. Now that's a mouthful, but what does it actually mean? You see, in international relations, the global community does not like nations flirting around. It leads to unintended consequences like transfer of sensitive military technology. A strategic partnership, on the other hand, is a marriage. Now you can transfer assets freely. You're a couple now. Essentially, it's a euphemism for serious military partnership, which includes things like interoperability, joint training, intelligence sharing, and most importantly, a pathway to transfer cutting-edge military platforms. Platforms like BrahMos and those excellent kamikaze drones that recently introduced themselves so effectively to the world. For Cyprus, this partnership means a reliable ally who offers real protection for their waters, energy projects, and borders. For India, a strategic foothold in the Eastern Mediterranean and export markets for our defense industry, and not to mention a partner right in Europe's backyard. Two democracies, clean deal, smart move. So why is Turkey absolutely going bonkers? Simple. They weren't invited to the party. And they know exactly what that means. To understand the Turkish meltdown, we need to understand the geography, because in geopolitics, geography is everything. The Mediterranean is an interesting place with large bodies of water surrounded by land. You have the Caspian Sea up in the north, which is completely landlocked. The Black Sea, which is almost landlocked and only has a narrow opening via the Turkish Straits into the Mediterranean Sea, which in turn is also a body of water surrounded by land, with just two narrow entry points. The Strait of Gibraltar in the far west, 3,000 kilometers away, and the Suez Canal in the south, which is narrow and completely choked with shipping traffic. Any outside power wanting to project naval force here must sail in from 3,000 kilometers from the Straits of Gibraltar, or negotiate the Suez Canal, which is controlled by Egypt. And the Turkish Straits in the north are a dead end to Black Sea. Turkey is the second largest military in NATO, with ships, submarines, and land-based missiles covering the entire basin. For decades, Turkey has operated here with total impunity, blocking Cypriot gas drilling, claiming waters that belong to others, being a nuisance in general. And nobody could do a thing about it. Because to challenge Turkey in this lake, you would have to first fight your way in, and nobody would risk it. Turkey knew this, and they used it systematically for 50 years. This is the environment into which India just rolled in. Now that we've done the geography, we need to do some history. I promise, I'll be quick. 1974, Turkey invaded Cyprus, sent in the troops, took the top third of the island, and the troops are still there. That was 50 years ago. Turkey calls it peacekeeping, while the rest of the world calls it occupation. Now, here's where it gets genuinely interesting. While the rest of the world recognizes Cyprus as a nation, Turkey does not. And while Turkey recognizes Northern Cyprus, the rest of the world does not. It's a bit like one of those distasteful Turkish things, like the baklava.
Come on.
What? It's overrated. Somebody had to say it. Anyway, this is not just about the recognition of Cyprus. Turkey takes this further. They actually have a formal plan to claim all waters of the Eastern Mediterranean as Turkish territory. The plan is called Blue Homeland. And by all means all, even the waters that wash up on Greek and Cypriot beaches, the actual sand between your toes on a Greek holiday under Blue Homeland, Turkish territory. Which means, technically, Greek beachgoers would need a Turkish visa to go for a swim in their own seas. I genuinely wonder what that would look like. Welcome to the Turkish Embassy Beach Branch. Please form an orderly queue between towels 7 and 8. Now, jokes aside, Blue Homeland is not some fringe theory. It is official Turkish doctrine backed by some serious military and naval firepower in a lake controlled by them. And it was increasingly beginning to look that they might actually pull this off, especially when you add the gas. The Eastern Mediterranean is not just strategic, it is economically enormous. Fishing, critical maritime trade, and gas. Lots of it. Something a post-Russia Europe desperately needs. And while Cyprus and Turkey have both been drilling aggressively, Cyprus has already struck gold with the Aphrodite field and more, with companies like Exxon, Eni, and Total holding licenses. Billions invested. However, as far as Turkey is concerned, let's just say both the driller and the results of their drilling have something in common. Well, a Turkey. So, naturally, and I'm completely serious here, Turkey is now claiming Cyprus's gas fields, the ones Cyprus discovered and licensed. Turkey's argument? Cyprus does not exist, and thus it has no EEZ. So all the fields are in open water, ergo, Turkish territory. And while others may not agree, Turkey has warships in a lake where nobody can challenge them. Until now. Until India walked into that neighborhood and poof. Why India specifically? Why not France, US, or NATO? The answer goes back to May 2025, Operation Sindoor. Now, we Indians are thick-skinned about criticism because we've heard it all. But Turkey crossed a line when it supported Pakistan over Kashmir and supplied them with drones, ammunition, and military intelligence. There are credible reports that indicate Turkish drone operators were actively involved in Op Sindoor, and there are confirmed reports that both these drones and their operators were complete failures. Let me be very precise here. A NATO member state actively transferring weapons and operational support to Pakistan during a live military confrontation with India. This is not diplomacy. This is a choice. This is an act of war. And India noticed. Instead of creating a scene, India quietly deepened ties with Greece, Armenia, and Cyprus, Turkey's traditional rivals. Each move calibrated, each deniable in isolation. Together, an architecture that has clearly rattled Ankara. And add a bit of context. In 2023, when Turkey suffered a devastating earthquake, India launched Operation Dost. Rescue teams, medical support, and relief materials. No conditions attached, no agenda, just pure friendship. It could have been the basis of a completely different relationship, but Turkey chose to stab us in the back. So, what goes around comes around. What you sow, so shall you reap. The wheels of karma grind slowly but thoroughly. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And the dildo of consequences, as someone wisely put it, rarely comes lubricated. We reached out to Ankara, for a reaction, but I'm told they're still trying to figure out which of the above applies to their situation. India walked into Turkey's strategic backyard through a door Turkey didn't know existed. This is not a weapons deal. This is five-dimensional chess. Now, what does an actual BrahMos deployment do to this geography? This is where it gets viscerally real. That's Cyprus here and the Turkish coast there, with approximately 70 to 100 kilometers of open water in between. A Turkish vessel on patrol here would sit roughly 30 to 50 kilometers from the Cypriot coast. BrahMos Mark III, 3,700 kilometers per hour, roughly 1 kilometer per second. How long does that take to cover 30 kilometers? 30 seconds launch to impact. Radar detects an object. 15 to 20 seconds to confirm it's a real threat. You can't be shooting at everything. The human decision to engage, 10 to 15 seconds. Protocol needs a person to authorize. Add it up. You're at 30 seconds or past it. No reaction window, no last minute intercept, no dramatic save. The knowledge that you're about to die and the actual death happens simultaneously. The BrahMos fires and relocates between shots, making it impossible to target. This is a layered architecture with missile batteries, kamikaze drones, ground artillery, air defense protecting those areas, joint exercises and intel giving Cyprus eyes across the basin. Each piece individually manageable, the whole architecture transformative. Suddenly, the entire sea within 300 kilometers of Cyprus, essentially the whole eastern basin, becomes a zone where Turkish naval operations carry a risk calculation they've never had to make. No more casual escorts for survey vessels, no blocking of Cypriot oil drilling, no more control of trade routes. Every Turkish commander now carries one permanent question: where is the BrahMos battery right now? That floating, permanent, unanswerable question is the proverbial gun at Turkey's temple. This is what Checkmate looks like. Turkey built its power on the idea that operating here carries no cost. India just made it costly. So let's take a step back. Turkey spent 50 years building the perfect position. The entry points, the military dominance, the Incirlik leverage, the blue Homeland strategy, the gas. It seemingly had all the cards until it made one miscalculation. It poked India over Kashmir with weapons during a live military operation. And India quietly walked into the Mediterranean and handed Turkey a very precise and permanent problem. This is what serious strategy looks like. A defense roadmap, a partnership, a missile, and 30 seconds. Nations lie, geography does not. Hi, I'm the Uncensored Nair, and this was our maiden episode, and we plan to do 2 per week. If this was worth your time, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell button. It genuinely helps us reach more people. And share it with at least one person in your circle who thinks geopolitics is boring. We will sort that out for you. Drop in the comments and tell us what would you like us to discuss in the upcoming episodes. Your call entirely. I'll see you next week. Until then, ciao.